Hello guys, what's up? My name is Galaxie. Welcome to this series. Welcome to this particular episode. And today we are gonna continue from the previous state. So let's get started. Now I want to do ps, and this container is running with the name my latest Postgres. Now I want to fetch the Docker image, Docker pull Postgres, but this time I want to pull the older Postgres image, or maybe of some version. I'll just head over to the site and I'll just look for the tag 17.4. I can see here 17.4. I will use it. I'll just go to my terminal again and use 17.4 version. Then I'll hit enter. And also I want to pull another image which is 15.12, maybe 15.12. Then I'll hit enter. Okay, I just forgot. I have forgotten to put the Postgres. Silly mistake. Now I'm just gonna hit enter. And one thing you have to notice that when we have pulled the Postgres 17.4 and Postgres 15.12, it says here already exist. That means when we pull the image, it contains some layer. So this layer, if it's already exists, then it will say already exists. Otherwise it will pull out some other layer, and that's what it is doing here. So now we have Postgres 15.12 as well as 17.4 and our latest. And you can see over here, going to this tab, here you can see with a different tag, and this tag is just the versioning as I have told you earlier. And I'm just gonna clear it. Now I want to run this image with 15.2. I can do docker ps first of all. One container is running and ps -a. Now I want to do docker images to check the list of the images available. Here you can see from the terminal as well, you can see the tag, and we have different Postgres versions. Now I want to run this image. For example, like I want to run this Postgres image. For that I will do docker run, and I will just give the image ID and hit enter. As you can see, it fails to initialize because from the documentation before we have learned that to run the Postgres you need the super user, right? So I'm just gonna copy it again and paste it. This time I'm just gonna keep my Postgres name, container name, old Postgres with the password, my secret password, and -d Postgres. And the image should be Postgres colon 15.12. I'm just gonna hit enter. You need to remove this $sign because every docker command it start with docker. Again I have done some mistake. Postgres and hit enter. It has now run the container. Now you can use the same psql command inside this container because your Postgres is running inside your container, different container I mean. So you can use the psql command and run whatever the SQL statement you like. Okay, so in this way you can use the different version of Postgres inside the same machine, and this is one of the sweetness of the Docker. Now let's talk about the image. So how do we create the image? We have discussed it before, right? From the Docker hub we have pulled the Postgres image, right? So how this image is created. To create the image, we need the Docker file, and it has a set of instructions to build the Docker image. So the Docker file is needed to build the Docker image, and from the Docker image we can use many container as we like, as we have seen in the video, right? So what this Docker image is composed of: the image of the Docker that contains these layers, and on the base there is a base layer which has some kind of Linux variant, which may be Alpine or other Linux distribution, and on the top it may have different layers, maybe layer 1, layer 2 or layer 3, and these layers, it is immutable. So all these layers are immutable. Once the image is created, then you cannot change the image. I want to talk about this command as well, docker pull Postgres. When we pull the image of the Postgres, automatically adds the latest tag, right? So when this image is pulled from the Docker Hub with the help of Docker daemon, then it will reside on our local system. And after that we have done docker pull Postgres with some old version, right? What the Docker daemon does is that it will compare the existing layer of the image. If this layer is already existed, then it will not download, but it will download some of the layers which is not presented in the system. So Docker daemon works like that, and the image is immutable. Once the image is created, we cannot change it. And to create the image, we need a Docker file, a set of instructions, and from that image we can make multiple containers. Now you can see that the image is composed of the layers. These image layers, it cannot be changed, so it's immutable. And this container layer, the Docker will add the read write access. For example, like you can write the file make directory access log. These all happens during the life cycle of the container, and once the container is stop or remove, all changes are not persisted. So that means when the life cycle of the container ends, then the data is lost. We will talk more on volumes in the later chapter, persist our data, but for now just keep on the mind that this image layer cannot be changed. Alright, I will just add the reference so you can view on the surface level how the image works. As you can see, the image layer, it's read only. When you start the container, in the container layer, it will add up the read write layer on the top of the image layer, so you can do some changes. Once the container lifecycle ends or you stop the container, then these changes no longer persisted. We have reached to the end of this video. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye bye.